Every time I have a stupid sermon, we have a bunch of guests, so come back again. If you were with us the last few weeks, we were on this kick about what it would mean for us to have a missionary mindset, but living in our own area. How would my life be different? What would I do differently? Where would I go? Who would I talk to? How would I talk to them? All that stuff. Last week, Justin kind of played off of that and showed us examples in the New Testament that showed us how there's a lot of different ways to be a missionary, a lot of different ways to reach people. And he did a really good job with that. He read a little bit from Acts 8, and that's where I want to start today. Acts 8, verse 26. Now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, "Go south to the road, the desert road, that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza." So he started out, and on his way he met an Ethiopian eunuch, an important official in charge of all the treasury of the Kandake, which means Queen of the Ethiopians. This man had gone to Jerusalem to worship, and on his way home was sitting in his chariot reading the book of Isaiah the prophet. The Spirit told Philip, "Go to that chariot and stay near it." Then Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. "Do you understand what you are reading?" Philip asked. "How can I," he said, "unless someone explains it to me?" So he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. So last week, Justin read this and talked about it in terms of what it meant for Philip as a missionary and how that could apply to us. But this morning, I want to think about the Ethiopian. Philip asked him, "Do you understand what you're reading?" And he gives a very honest, "How can I, unless someone explains it to me?" I love this guy. How tempting is it for us just to pretend like we've got it all sorted out, like we understand it. No, I got this, I'm good. Even if we've got no clue. I've done this at my work. Someone will be talking about something, maybe a customer, we're in a meeting, and they're using some jargon I don't know, and I'm just nodding along like, yeah, totally understand what you're talking about. Meanwhile, I'm pretending to take notes and Googling, on my computer to see what does this stuff mean. So instead of listening to what they're saying and understanding more, or asking the question and getting clarity before I move on, I'm like scrambling to try to catch up. As I grew up, I realized the best thing to do is just ask. Here's what I learned. Sometimes it might be a dumb question. Maybe I should know it by now. Maybe everybody else in the room knows it, but I don't. More often, it's not a dumb question. And there are others sitting around the table, others in the room that don't know. And in some cases, the person who is saying whatever they're saying doesn't even know what they're talking about. That's the other way this can go. In every case, if I ask the question, we can all figure it out together. My topic today isn't so much a sermon, it's maybe more a pep talk or some housekeeping. Actually, I'm going to take a step farther. We're going to establish a new policy today. Justin is excited because he loves policies and doctrine and can't wait for us to have a club with which to hit each other. And Jeremy is already working out ways to prove that this rule is stupid, even though he doesn't know what it is yet. To be fair, I'm normally that guy, but Jeremy's going to have to sit in for me today. First, a little background on our new policy. At work, we do a lot of dangerous things. We use cranes. We'll lift stuff that weighs 40 tons. We go into confined spaces that could be filled with poisonous gas. We work around really high voltages. We have to do live work sometimes because the system can't go down. We have to carefully cut and weld in places where there's lots of flammable stuff. We have to coordinate with other workers when we can't hear or see what's going on, see all the moving parts. We're hiring, if that sounds fun. You can apply. Anyway, we've got guys that have done this work for 20 years, and we've got guys that have just started, don't even have 20 days in. What happens is some of the younger guys or the newer guys will see something that just doesn't look quite right, but they'll think, if this was a problem, the old heads would have pointed it out. They would have said something's wrong here. I'm sure it's fine. Sometimes they're right. It's fine. Sometimes they're wrong. It's not. The times that they're right, the old heads would have pointed out if it was wrong. Those times, nothing happens. The whole thing goes by without incident, except the person that didn't understand why that was okay still doesn't understand. They still don't have understanding. The times they're wrong, and they should have pointed it out, could be disastrous. Someone could get hurt. Someone could get killed. So we have a policy called a stop work obligation. The policy is simple. If you see something that looks unsafe, you must immediately call a stop work. It's a timeout. Everybody's got to freeze and get everybody together and figure out what's going on. What are we doing? How are we controlling these, potential dangers? Make sure everybody's on the same page, and then we go back to work. It's an obligation. If you see it and don't say something, you're in trouble. Now, if you stop the work, stop. And it turns out it was safe, nothing was wrong, no big deal. But now you understand. Now you understand what was going on. If you stop work and it was unsafe, thank goodness you did. You might have saved a life. With that in mind, here is the first, to my knowledge, policy of the Springs Warehouse Church. The ask the question obligation. If this is your church, or you'd like it to be, you are hereby obligated to ask the question if you don't understand. Here's why I think we need this. I said the results of my questions went one of three ways. The first was it was a basic thing that I didn't understand. If you ask a basic question or something that someone might say is a dumb question, that might be one of the most important ones that you can ask for yourself. Because how will you move beyond the basics if you don't understand the basics? If your fundamentals are off, if your foundation isn't solid, how will your house go? How will your building be? It won't be good. It's very, very important for you, if it's a basic question, to make sure you get clarity. Part of the stop work obligation policy at work is that if someone belittles you or overrides it and says, no, we're just going to keep going, that person's in trouble. And we're going to have that too. There are no dumb questions. And if someone gives you a hard time for something you don't understand, well, they're going to have to sit on the uncomfortable couch for a month of Sundays. The second way questions end up is that we find out we're not the only ones that don't understand. And this is great because maybe my teaching and Justin and Jeremy and the others that talk here, maybe our teaching isn't covering something that we need to cover. Maybe we're not getting, it's not clear. How will we who talk and try to teach cover the right bases if we don't know that there's something that is still in the dark for everybody or something that we need more work on? I think this happens a lot. We think we're the only ones that don't know. But in reality, there's a whole bunch that don't know or aren't quite sure, or just maybe it hasn't quite gelled yet. Finally, my questions revealed that sometimes the one that's talking doesn't know what they're talking about. They know the jargon, they know how to use it in a sentence, no clue what it means. And you ask them to clarify, and they're, and just talk and say nothing. And then it's pretty clear to me, I don't think they've got it down either. I'm in good company. So the third way your question will have a positive impact is to correct wrong teaching. Maybe it's something a former pastor told you. Maybe it's something that I said. I don't care who was wrong or why. I'm interested in the truth and our understanding of it. When questions are asked in good faith, it benefits us all. Proverbs 27:17 says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. As we see, a question asked in good faith will help you gain understanding, help the group gain understanding, or even help correct the one doing the teaching. I said a question asked in good faith, and I think that's an important distinction. The story of the Ethiopian eunuch shows a man who genuinely wanted to know the truth. He wasn't looking to poke holes in it, he was looking to understand it. And you can see the positive results of his question. Another example is in one of my favorite passages. You can find it in Mark chapter 9, starting at verse 14. When they came to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them and the teachers of the law arguing with them. As soon as all the people saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with wonder and ran to greet him. What are you arguing with them about? He asked. A man in the crowd answered, Teacher, I brought you my son who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. "You unbelieving generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into fire or water to kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," said Jesus, "everything is possible for one who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help my unbelief." The dad here had heard about what Jesus could do. He went to Jesus' disciples to get that, which he had heard about, but they couldn't deliver. The people representing Jesus couldn't deliver. They let him down because they're people. So instead of being frustrated with Jesus because of the failings of the people, he went to Jesus and said, "Can you help me?" Jesus says, "Yes, anything is possible for one who believes." And then the man's answer is one of honesty and humility. "I do believe. Help my unbelief." And this is how I know it's okay to ask questions. The guy wanted to be sure, but he knew that he wasn't. He wanted it, but he didn't have it yet. So instead of pretending or staying silent, he was honest and asked the question. If we look at the beginning of the passage, we see it says the teachers of the law were arguing with the disciples. People arguing about whose take is right. What's right? I've got it. No, you've got it. No, I've got it. People arguing about what is right while a man is hurting, watching his son suffer. The man was honest with Jesus about his faith and about his lack of faith, about what he had and what he didn't, what he knows that he knows, and what he doesn't. If it was wrong to feel that way, I think Jesus would have told him. If it was wrong to feel like this man felt, "I do believe, help my unbelief," I think Jesus would have chastised him like he chastised the leaders who were arguing. But he didn't. Know what he did? He healed his son. If that man had stayed silent for fear that Jesus would clobber him for asking the question, he may have missed his miracle. I believe Jesus wants us to ask the questions. Matthew 7, verse 7, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be opened." That's Jesus talking. He didn't say, "Shut up, get in line, keep your head down, go with the flow. Take it as it's presented." He says, ask, seek, knock. Actively search out the Word of God for the answers you need. Our stop work obligation at work is important because it can be a matter of life and death. Our ask the question obligation here is the same. Our salvation is literally a matter of eternal life and eternal death. Please don't stay silent. Please don't think it's dumb or people will judge. The answer to your question could make all the difference for you, for us, or for me. Let's pray.